These are two 300 watt full RGB cob lights. Let's get into the video. So this is the styrofoam case, but I'm not really a big fan of. This is not something that I think I'd want to travel with, but let's see what's inside. As we open it, we're greeted with the light. We have a reflector with a bounce mount, like so. You have some instruction pamphlet right there, and then if you go over here, you have your cable, and this is your power bank, and it also comes with a little thing that attaches that you can use to attach to your light stand. We do have our light itself. This is definitely a case that I can definitely work with versus the styrofoam with the Amaran. So let me just open it up. And as we open it up, we're greeted with a pamphlet, a little card. Let's put those to the side. And we have our power bank and a definitely much longer cable than what we had with the Amaran. And I love the padding that is inside the case. We also have a reflector, and this is also with the bounce mount as well. And now we get to the light. As you can see, the light there, and it has this Y yoke, which I'm not sure if I'm a fan of it, but it might be something that grows on me. But the one thing I can see so far is the metal construction. So let's start with the Amaran 300c. I've been using this light for almost a year now, and this has been my main light for my YouTube videos. And I must say that I'm truly happy with what I've gotten from this light. But let's get into the final details. Here we are at the back of the unit for the Amaran. You have a nice screen here, which is just one color versus the GVM, which has a colored screen. You have two dials here and a button here for the Bluetooth, where you can do the Bluetooth reset. This is how you connect your unit to your app, to your phone via Bluetooth. Also, you have, like I said, they have a knob here which has the intensity, the lighting mode. When you come over here now, you have the CRT, you have the CCT, the GM, which is the green magenta, and you also have your hue and saturation. You have your DC in, which is at the bottom, versus the GVM, which is at the back. And you also have your power unit right here. Also, when you go to the side of the unit, you can see that you have the umbrella unit right here, where you can put in to make your light and diffuse your light a little bit more if you don't have a softbox. Also, if you kind of come back around here, you will see that most of the unit here, this part here is a very like a hard plastic, but the majority of the top over here is plastic. Plate in the front is mostly metal. The neck right here is a little bit of metal, but the majority of the rest of it is plastic. Like this arm right here is plastic. All right, but versus that to the GVM, the GVM is about 80% metal and 20% plastic, which for me is not really a big deal, because my lights are usually very stationary, because it's what I use for my main light. I use my Amaran for my main light for my YouTube. So now that you have seen the details of how the lighting is set up with all the buttons and stuff in the back, and also the build quality, the one thing I must say about this light is I love the functionality of it when it comes on to using the app, but you do not get all the functionality in the back. You have to go to the app in order to use it. But one thing I want to do is I want to check out what the fan noise is like with this unit. With the GVM, you're able to adjust your fan noise. With this, you do not have that option. The fan only kicks in when, I guess, the light gets to a certain temperature. The lighting is at 100% right now. Let's listen to the fan noise. So I have the GVM here, guys, and I'm going to keep the name as short as possible, just calling it GVM instead of the GVM SD300c Pro, which I think is really long, so I'm just going to call it GVM. And the thing I like about this light is its build quality. The majority of this is made up of metal. I would say about 80% is made up of metal in comparison to the Amaran. The Amaran, I think, is around 40 to 50% plastic. And I love the layout of the light. I actually love the look of the light, even though they only have this color here, which is the red and black. And knowing someone like me who actually loves red, I do like that. What I like about this is the fact that you have everything behind the unit and you don't have to rely on an app. And the fact you have the dials here where you have the mode, menu, back, cool, you also have your intensity, your selector, your CCT, and your green and magenta tint. You have your on and off switch. You also have your DC in, your DMX in and out. The Amaran does not have a DMX at all. You have, what I like about this too as well, it has a color screen where you can actually see everything, you know, in color and stuff like that. You can definitely look at this and say, boy, I wonder if I can touch it, but you definitely can't. And I love the fact that you can just easily just go and select, and you can easily go inside each of them. The one thing I like too is the fact that you can go from 2000 Kelvin all the way up to 10,000 Kelvin. I think that's really good. So now that I've seen the entire back of this, let's check out what the fan noise is, knowing that you're able to have 3 different levels with the fan noise. Let's take a listen and see how loud this fan noise is. You have your smart, you have high, and you have silent, like that. So if I go here now and I select, let's say right now it's on the smart, you can definitely hear the fan if I go quiet. And I'm going to select high. I'm going to go to silent. The one thing with silent too, when you go back to mode and you go up to your CCT, you're able to only go up to 15%. Once you go 50%, it literally just kind of starts. You can't go any further than that. It limits you when you go on your silent. Just keep that in mind. So now that I've seen that, guys, that's one of the things with this is I don't like the fact that how loud the noise is. And I don't like the fact that the moment you turn the lights on, guys, the fan actually does kick in. It does have a silent mode, guys, but with that silent mode, you're only limited to about 50% of power. You can't go above that, which I don't like at all. The thing I like about the Amaran is that the fan only kicks in when it needs to. Beyond that, oftentimes the fan is actually off. The other thing I don't like about this light is I don't like how much play I have here in the front. This is a lot of play. If I should compare it to the Amaran, let's just put this to the side for 1 second. This is the Amaran, and you can see here pretty much limited or no play whatsoever. I do like that. I'm only thinking whenever it is I put on a really big softbox, how much play that is going to have. But I will have to test that and see what that is also like. The next thing is I don't really like this design right here. I'm not really a big fan of the Y yoke here. I do understand why they probably do it, that you have to tilt this. You're able to tilt this all the way down and all the way up, but also you're only limited to where the cable norm is going to meet this right here. And the next thing is here where you have to put the power brick on there. I don't really like the orientation of where it is. I wish it was a little bit more on this side versus this. So you guys let me know in the comment section what you guys think of that. So now that we have a good overall look of both lights, guys, let's take a look at the LED colors and see what that's like. As you can see here from the lighting for each, the Amaran and the GVM, the colors are pretty much the same. If I go, let's say I go to the blue, the color for the blue, for the Amaran and the GVM, the colors are pretty much the same. But if you look at the GVM, it's a little bit richer in the blues. So I kind of give the gels for the GVM so far. So now that you've seen that, guys, the winner for me really is a little bit edge to the GVM because I tend to see a little bit more saturation in those colors. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. The one thing I appreciate about both lights, guys, is they do have a green and magenta tint. That, in other words, if your light has more green or more magenta in it, you can adjust those in the unit itself or actually using the app. And speaking of the app, guys, let's go over a quick demonstration of the apps. So with the app, guys, the one thing I must say, if I should to compare both apps, is how the layout and design of the apps are. The GVM tend to be a little bit more traditional and older in its design, while the Amaran has a more modern feel, it's more functional, and it's actually a lot more easier to use in my estimation. But the one thing I can say is that the GVM, in terms of connection, you tend to lose connection a little bit more with the Amaran versus the GVM. I noticed that if I should actually close the app and go back in, I have a tendency to lose connection with the Amaran versus the GVM. Let me know what you guys think of that. Now that we have had a full look at the overall functionality of each of the lights, the physical look, feel, and also the pros and the cons, as well as the use of the app, I can definitely say, guys, for me, if you're not looking at the dollar figure, I would say definitely go with the Amaran, because the Amaran for me is, because I'm already in the ecosystem with the Amaran. I have an Amaran 150c, PT4C, which is the light tubes. I would say I would go with the Amaran just because of that reason. But when it comes onto the dollar value, I tend to lean more towards the GVM, because if you're someone who's just starting out and you don't want to spend that big money, you're definitely going to have a big savings with the GVM. So in looking at those two prices, guys, you can definitely tell that the GVM is a more fit for persons who are on a budget versus the Amaran. And for me, guys, if I should be starting out and I don't really have that much money, I'm definitely going to go for the GVM. Why? Because the functionality of both units are very, very similar. It's just small things that separate them. So for me, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. What would you say would be your top choice when it comes on to these two lights right here? And guys, if you have liked this video, smash that like button, guys. If you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. And guys, there might be videos over here that I think you might want to watch. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.